I'm your host, Sarah Baus, and welcome to Attainable Podcast. Perfection. Okay. Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Attainable Podcast. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Today, I've got a very, very exciting interview with Natalie Cass. I've been following her on TikTok, and I fell in love with her content. So I was like, there's no way. Of course, I'm selfish, and so I just want to make friends. And so when I want to make friends, I just invite them on the podcast. So little does she know we're going to become besties, and I have no shame. So Natalie, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself for those who may not follow you or don't know who you are?
Yes, absolutely. Also, I am so here for it. I've made literally all my besties on the internet.
Yes.
They're besides my one childhood friend, I've made every friend on the internet. I'm like, there's no shame about it. I'm like,
No.
yes, I make all my friends in TikTok and Instagram comments, and that's how it goes these days. But thank you so much for having me. My name is Natalie Cass. Cass is actually my middle name, but that's what I like to go by on the internet.
Okay, wait,
Yes.
what's your last name?
Kelly. So my name's Natalie Cass Kelly.
Oh my God, that's a cute name.
Thanks. I know. I was like, thanks, mom and dad. I like that middle name. And I am 27. I live in Sacramento, California. I just moved here about 6 months ago from Portland, Oregon, but I'm originally from Washington. So I just keep going down south a little further. My parents are like, you can stop now. And I'm like, but San Diego looks nice.
But San Diego, what if we just keep going down? Oh my gosh,
I
so
know.
you are like a hardcore West Coast girly.
Yes. Hardcore.
I'm literally on the other side.
Okay. Where are you?
I'm in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh
So
my
like
God.
beach, like literally. So I'm such an East Coaster. It's not even funny. So I'm like, okay, scrap everything we're gonna talk about. All we're gonna talk about is being a West Coast girl. No, I'm just kidding. But I probably will ask you a couple questions.
Yes. Oh no, I love that. I've never been to South Carolina. I've always had this weird affinity with North and South Carolina. I don't know why.
Really?
I wanted to go to college in North Carolina until I was like, I've never left home and I don't think I should go this far. My mom was like, so I'm not paying for your plane tickets when you want to come home every month.
Lol.
But anyways, it's on the list. It's on the list. But yes, I live in Sacramento and I like to call myself a digital Jill of all trades. I kind of do a little bit of everything. I do mindset coaching for folks who have chronic illnesses. That's kind of my foundational business that I run. And then I also do content creation and UGC creation, as well as a little bit of freelance writing. So we do a little bit of everything. And when I'm not working on my a million things, I love yoga. I love reading. I love hiking and just being outside. I love the beach, journaling, kind of all that stuff.
Yeah.
I feel a little basic, but I love
it. Honestly, we really should cancel the word basic because it really causes me especially to move away from things. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's so basic. And then I do them. I'm like, oh, wait. I'm like, all of them, they had a point. Yeah. I hate that they had a point, but they did.
Yep. I feel that.
And I'm one of those annoying people that I will purposely not like something only because everybody else likes it. That is an unfortunate quality of mine. Yes. But then as soon as I get into it 2 years later, did you know I discovered this? In fact, it's my entire personality. Nobody else knew about it. And this is crazy. Yep. I'm like, yep, it's so annoying.
I'm like, are you me? I'm even that way. I feel I went through the phase of I'm not going to dress to trends. I'm going to be different. And then I moved and it kind of made me have an existential crisis. And I was like, oh, the quote unquote basic girlies have it right. Sweatsuits every day. A cute little crop t-shirt, high-waisted jeans. I got rid of 80% of my closet. So I'm like, what was I doing? I'm what was I wearing? I'm like, whoa, okay, never mind.
Never mind. Scratch that. Try again. Well, yeah. Okay. Can we talk a little bit about your multiple income streams? And I'd love really to hear a little bit about your journey on setting those up. So you did go to college. What was that after college experience like? And how did you move into what thankfully I think is becoming more conventional, but still very unconventional and definitely an indirect path, which can be it's usually very, very hard. I have a big piece of my heart for people who don't have kind of the straight and narrow, because I've been down that path and it's a lot. So can you tell us a little bit about yours?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. I love talking about this. I always say I knew I needed to be an entrepreneur, work for myself since I was like 8 years old. I like begged my parents at 8 years old. I was like, please turn this storage closet into my office. And they're like, what do you need an office for? Like, you're 8 years
kidding.
old.
You did
No,
not
and I
ask
was,
for an office at 8 years old.
and I thought I'd get it. And my grandma had like gotten me a vintage, obviously vintage, but like a typewriter, because obviously they're not going to give like an 8-year-old a computer.
Right.
But I was like, I got to be tapping away. Like, I have work to do. And I would like carry this little felt purse around that I called my office, and it just had all my notepads, my pens. Like, I was a girl on a mission.
Stop. Wait, that is
all the time. So instead we compromised. They built me a little office in the garage, like an antique little desk. I don't know what was up with like the vintage. I was like really going for it.
yeah.
But I feel like that's where it literally all started. I just kind of had this like itch in me of like, I want to do my own thing. I don't like being told what to do. So I went to college and I majored in mass communication. So I was kind of either going to go like the journalism route or public relations. And I also really chose that major because I knew there were like some social media classes. And I'm like, okay, I feel like Instagram is cool. Like, I went to college in 2014 to 2018. So like influencers were like sort of a thing, but like it was really still blogging. Like, it wasn't at all obviously what it was now. And obviously like TikTok wasn't a thing or anything. And after my freshman year, I started like kind of like a food blog, like food and wellness blog, set up my little WordPress website and started an Instagram because I'd gotten like super into like running and healthy eating. And most people freshman year are like, I don't give a shit like about like, stop talking to us about this. Like, my friends were like, girl, I don't care about the green muffins you just made in the dorm. Like, I'm hungover. Like, I don't want a spinach muffin. I'm like, no, they're good. So I was like, okay, I'll just go to the internet to like find friends and like, know I'm not alone and like being 18 and healthy and whatever. And I really didn't think it would turn into anything. I was like, this is just shits and gigs, like so fun, whatever. And it kind of just kept growing because I can't do anything half-assed. So I put like my whole heart. And so I'd like stay in on the weekends to like write my blog posts and work on my Instagram. And my teacher started letting me like use it for class projects. And I got like credit and did independent study one year and like worked on my blog and all this stuff. So by the time college was ending, like I'd grown a bit of a following on Instagram and was like making a little bit of money, but like in no way enough to be like, this is my job full time. It was like side hustle vibes. So I was like starting to apply to jobs and like PR, and I would literally cry every time I put in an application, like sob. I'm like, don't accept it. Like, don't hire me.
Oh my
I was
God.
just like, the thought of just having a 9 to 5, I was like, I literally can't do it. Like, oh my God. And so my brain, instead of being like, let's figure out how to like do our thing, I was like, let's be a personal trainer. And like, I did love working out. So I was like, perfect. This is my key
I literally love the side quests of life that our brains take us on. It's like in a video game where it's like, no, there's a main mission, but instead you have to go find this acorn to give to this like wizard or something. And we'll just like, no, actually, that's my purpose in life. I'm going to go in this little side path for a moment. Just let me frolic. And I'm like, okay.
And it's like, we'll get back. But like, you have to have those where your brain really is like, this actually is the key to everything. This will change my life. I'm like,
yes,
probably not. So I like literally called my parents. It was like 2 months before graduation, maybe. And I was like, change of plans, mom and dad, revoked all my applications. I'm going to be a personal trainer. And my parents, bless their hearts, they're like, do it, girl. Every time I've been like, actually, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. They're like, do it, girl. Like, we're here to support you.
Oh, I love that.
So they were great. I started like studying, and again, literally had no background in like anatomy or anything. So I was like grinding my booty because I was like, the fuck is that? I was just trying to help people work out. I didn't know it was like so involved. But after I graduated, I like got my certification and I like landed my like quote unquote like dream personal training job at this like super luxury gym, whatever. I'm like, how did I get in here? Like, I'm so everyone else, there was 100 personal trainers. Every single one had a like, what's the major I'm thinking of? Like sports medicine, like something like that.
Yeah,
and I was like, I majored in journalism. Like, why am I here? And I lasted 2 months. And I was like, oh, not my calling. And I went and quit and I sobbed. And my boss was just like, okay, do your thing. Like, it's all right. Like, you're fine. And again, my parents were like, do your thing, girl. Like, all right. And it was because I like was literally getting up at like 5 a.m. every day to like work on my blog still, work on my Instagram, like work with companies, develop these recipes, like create all these posts, and then like go to the gym and do my job and whatever. And I was just like, I have this feeling that I can turn this thing I have into something, but like, I don't have the mental capacity while working full time. So like, I know there was this huge privilege because at the time I lived at home. And my parents were financially supporting me while I like figured out how to make my blog a full-time business, basically, which was like such a huge privilege. Feel so lucky. They like let me turn their basement into an office. And that's when I was kind of introduced to the world of like coaching, and not like sketchy Instagram coaching, but like, let's get real certifications and like, do that kind of coaching. And so I first found out about like holistic health coaching. And so that was where I was like, that is the thing. So I started doing that and got my certification. And because I'd already built a following, it was like pretty easy for me to quickly start making enough money for it to be like full time. I wasn't like bringing in the big bucks, but I like made enough. I started doing holistic health coaching and had a very big emphasis on like self-love coaching and things like that, because I struggled a lot in college with like self-hatred and all that stuff. And after about the first 6 months, I kind of realized like, okay, niching down, obviously helpful in a lot of ways. And I just kind of like found who I actually loved working with, because I was just like, I'll work with any woman wanting to work on this. And I had been diagnosed with a chronic illness before my senior year of college. And then I ended up working with a few women who had similar chronic illnesses. And I was like, oh, this is where I'm super passionate. Like, this is so cool to help people like me. Like, past me needed this and she couldn't find it. And like, I can do that now. So I shifted my business to be focused on coaching for folks with chronic illnesses. And that's when I decided to get my mindset and life coaching certifications, because I realized like that was kind of the key missing piece for me on my chronic illness journey, was there was no one to help me with like the emotional or mental aspect of chronic illness. Like my doctors were just like, here are medications, eat this food, you're good. And I'm like, I'm so sad. And like, I'm really struggling like with comparison. Like, what do you mean this pill ain't helping anything but my gut? Like, I don't know what's going on. So that's when I really kind of honed down that side of my business. And so I've been doing that for about 4 years, and I make most of my money from my group coaching program I developed. Right before the pandemic, actually, I created an 8-week group coaching program called Path to Empowered Acceptance. And it basically helps chronically ill folks learn to accept their diagnoses, gain confidence, and just like create a life that they actually love alongside their illnesses without like having to be all like toxically positive and whatnot. And then on my business Instagram, I do work with companies like wellness companies, supplement companies, and then companies like Healthline and Health Central. I'll do things to help promote their, online communities, their articles and things like that. And then through doing all that, I also now write freelance for Healthline. I have a column called Mindset Matters, and it's kind of about all the emotional and mental aspects, again, of chronic illness. So taking a lot of my teachings and turn them into articles for the internet. So I feel like even just within my business, there's like those multiple income streams. I also self-published a guided journal for folks with chronic illnesses last year. I'm like, when did I do that? In December? Yeah, in December. So I have that out there, and just kind of aspects like that, merch, all that kind of thing. But then there's like the content creation side of things, where it's like, where do I have time for all this? I don't know.
I told you. She's like, well, and then I do this, and then I do this. But I mean, up to now, I don't know about, and I want to hear about the content creation. Up to now, though, it is interesting that you have like a centralized passion. You've just created multiple streams of how to use that, which I find fascinating. A lot of times, like, we'll hear these like, oh, I do this, this, and this, but they're not really related, and it can kind of be like red flag, what's happening? But it's very much for you, like all under this one umbrella, which is very cool.
Yeah. And it does very much help like my brain, because I can be a little not scattered. I don't know if you know anything about like human design, but if anyone listening does,
we can go into it, because I don't know a lot about it. I listened to a podcast about it. And I think I listened to a couple podcasts, and I think I even like downloaded an app, but then I didn't understand it. So then I think I deleted it or something. Like, I don't know really anything about it. So we can totally dive in.
Yeah. I don't actually know that much either. All I know is that, so I'm like, this is great. I just know that I think there's like 5 types, and I'm a manifesting generator. It's kind of like astrology plus personality type, sort of is how I always think of it. But I'm a manifesting generator, and basically the like main characteristic is I always want like a million projects. If it's not a 100% yes, I'm just not doing it. I want to find passion and joy in everything I do. So I feel like having multiple projects under one umbrella kind of like satisfies this piece of me that like wants a bunch of projects to be working on, and that I can like satisfy all these different needs. But it also then keeps me like organized and not feeling super scattered, where like every project is a different topic or different like part of me or like whatever. So it definitely helps me to have this thing that's like kind of succinct and centralized together. Which that's where like the content creation side is obviously kind of different topics. Like with TikTok and my new Instagram, like I don't really talk about chronic illness. Like if it comes up, I'm not going to like pretend I don't have one, but it's just not, not the central topic of what I discuss. It is a lot more lifestyle. And then also obviously talking about like my coming out journey and like queerness and really just kind of encouraging people to like explore who they are and like know that they're valid on their journeys. And that's kind of like I feel like invisible string I see between the two sides of what I do is it's like on either side, although it's like encouraging people on different journeys, it's still like encouraging people to just like accept themselves and like love themselves and whatnot. So I started my TikTok literally, I think as everyone in 2020 on private, like, and I was just like making funny things for my friends because I was so bored and I lived alone. But I think I started like actually posting on it in like 2021. And at first I did start posting on it for business. I was like, oh, some chronic illness stuff. And then I was like, girl, what are you doing? Like, let yourself post about other stuff. Like you are such a multi-dimensional human. And so I came out in 2021 as well. So I started like just posting about that. Cause I was like, I don't know, like maybe people relate. And it kind of just, spiraled into something as I think social media does. I really did not set out to like grow a following or make money on TikTok, but that is now, an income stream working with companies and partnering with them on there, which is just like so fun. I just like love creating little videos and like showing my favorite little things. And then from there, I started doing UGC as well, which like very randomly just kind of like fell into my lap. Like I had companies just kind of were emailing me like, oh, will you do UGC for me? And you don't have to post it. And I did not even know what UGC standard for. And I was like, okay. I was like, sure, like I'll do it. Like I love to make little videos.
Yeah,
and
like why not?
I also don't have to post it and worry about like the algorithm. Like that sounds sweet. And so then of course, like my feed has been like UGC on steroids lately, like everyone and their mother and daughter and dog are doing it. So I really let that be like a pretty chill piece of what I do. Like, yes, I pitch companies and it's in my bio and stuff now, but I feel like the content creation on my own page is still kind of like a bigger piece of what I do than UGC. Just because I feel like you kind of have to pick and choose like where your effort, is going with like pitching 100%. And content and all of that.
100%. Have you ever considered management out of curiosity?
Okay. I actually just got a manager for social media.
Oh my God. So did I.
But it's only been like a week. So
a week. Okay. Mine's been
nothing's
literally,
come out of it
I think
quite
2
yet.
months.
Okay.
But
are
like
you loving it?
really a month, like really in signing. It's been like 2 months to talk about. Big fan.
Okay. I was like, what's about to come out of your mouth?
Yeah, she said, oh, I'm nervous.
Like, red flag. No.
Big fan. Big fan.
Okay, good.
And like managers like super scared me. Like the idea of, I was like, oh my God, they're going to scam me out of your money. But then
literally.
To be honest, do you follow Money to Miles? Or I guess I think she changed her handle to Erin. What is her? I actually don't know her last name. I know her as Money to Miles and Erin. Damn. But do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't know if I do.
Okay. Look her up. She's really sweet.
Okay.
And a fantastic creator. And we just followed each other, and I had her on the podcast. Have I had her on or I don't know. We just like, I don't know, connected. I think I tried to get her on the podcast because I do that. And she's a finance creator, so she started posting about like how much she made as a content creator, and it was the first person that like I knew that was doing that. So it wasn't me watching a video being jealous and like being like, what the fuck? It was me actually watching a friend. And I messaged her, I was like, Erin, like, what am I doing wrong? And I have a full-time job as well.
Okay.
And it's also involves TikTok. So it's just like TikTok is my entire life.
Right.
And I was like, Erin, what am I doing? Because she has a full-time job and she does content creation. And I was like, I can't keep up with this. Like, what do you use? She was like, girl, I got management. And I was like, girl, tell me more.
Yeah, you're like, so how do I do it?
I was like, what? But and then just seeing like how much she was making and then how much I was making, I was like, 20% fee my ass. I don't care. Yeah. Like you can take the money. You will be making me triple what I am currently making after you take it. So I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's like kind of new for me as well. Like I haven't even gotten my first payout yet because of course brands take like forever and a day to actually pay. But the fact that it's coming from one person, I don't have to chase down payments is wild.
Literally that was like one of the things that sold me. I was like, girl, I don't want to chase money. I don't want to be sending an invoice. I don't want to do it. I just don't. I want to focus on it is. And I feel like it like started taking the joy out of it for me because like there was so much back and forth and like here are my rates and pitching and blah, 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 or like sifting through all the emails where I'm like, no, 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 no. Oh, here's a yes. No, 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 no. Like,
Yes.
by the time I got the product to make the video, I'm like already burnt out on this collaboration.
Yeah.
I like haven't, and I'm like, no, I love making videos. I love, like, this is the fun part, like, but I'm already burnt out. And so that's where I'm just like, again, it's been like a literal week. So, but I'm just excited to see what like comes of it. And I just feel like it'll just like take a little off the plate, which I feel like, again, multiple income streams, it's like there's so much in your brain all the time.
So
Like,
much in your
oh
brain.
my God.
Yeah, I
like,
cannot imagine. No, 100%, 100%. So, okay, with like all of the things, do you have a, I guess, what is your approach to like starting a new project? Do you set goals? It really seems that your path you have chased, but it's been quite natural, which I think is very cool. And I think especially like with content creation, since it usually starts for everybody is just something you're just kind of doing and then it manifests itself
right,
into something else. It doesn't feel like it kind of sometimes doesn't feel like you worked for it, which is not
right,
true.
right.
But how do you approach like, yes, a new project in your business or yeah, I want to start like just opening up this new door. Do you set goals for yourself? What does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely like, I totally agree with what you said of how it just kind of like felt very natural, which I'm very thankful for. Cause I think if it felt forced or like I was really trying to do the content creation thing, I think that's when it can just feel really frustrating. Cause I feel like the more we try, the more we like overthink our content. We're not authentic and like whatnot. But I'm definitely like love a goal setting moment. Love, to love my like my little vision board hanging, like all that kind of stuff. And I try to be very like flexible with my goals, again, just like also being someone with a chronic illness. It's like this hard toss up where I'm like, I want to just be like hustling and like goals. I'm like, listen to your body, like self-care,
Listen to your
kind of
body.
that. I'm like, ooh, but like set goals while we're in the back kind of thing, which is my favorite. We love that. But I think for me, a big thing is like just even journaling about it, like not even necessarily like here are the hard steps to my goal. I'll do a lot of just like journaling, like why do I have this goal, like always making sure there's like, I'm going to say pure intentions. That sounds weird, but like, like I'm not like, oh,
Yeah.
I just want this goal because I want more money, or I just want this goal because like it's ego driven. Like it would look
Yeah.
good if I reached that. It's like, no, I want this goal because I want to like impact people in this way, or I want to have, leave this legacy or like whatever it is. And then from there, kind of setting those actionable steps, because I also know myself. And again, as like a manifesting generator, love setting a million goals. And then I just like won't do a lot of them because I'm like, well, now I didn't think through how to actually do it or like what any of the steps are, and it's actually not realistic. So really setting those steps. For example, like one of my goals for this year really was to get a manager, and like I didn't reach out to this company, which felt good that they came to me and were like, we like your content. But I knew for me, like attainable steps, if I want to get noticed by management, like posting consistently and just like having clear, you know, what's the word I'm thinking of? Pillars, like
Yeah.
content pillars, things like that. Like, how can we just make it very clear of who we are on social media? So one day a manager like sees that and can easily pitch you and things like that, while also knowing like, how can I keep this goal fun and light so I don't like tunnel vision on it and take all of the fun out of it. So that's kind of how I do goals. I definitely keep them a little flexible, a little like
No, that's
wiggle
so good
room in
because
them
goals
sort
make
of
me want to
thing.
shit my pants. Like
Yeah.
straight up, goals are not goals and me don't we
Don't love
don't
it.
vibe. We don't get
Mm-mm.
along. We used
Mm-mm.
to.
I feel
Used
that.
to. And then my entire life that came from those goals went to shambles.
Yeah.
So
Feel
now
that.
like goals feel a little like not so fun, not
Right.
so cash money,
Mm-hmm.
but so, which is why I now have a fascination, especially as somebody I was like on my own for I think like 2 years. And it fascinates me how other people like self-motivate and self-goal set. So how do you keep from feeling like you're on this hamster wheel as somebody who is the self-manager? Because and I was not planning on getting a full-time job, and I just found the right team, and it just kind of worked out. But even seeing that, like me as an I realized like I do really, really well with a team who can help me set goals and then also help me achieve those goals, and I can bounce ideas off of. And I kind of like having that accountability. Um, and I really, really have so much respect for people who are self-managed, freelance, who are owning their own business, who are, there's different ways to do it because it can get, I mean, it truly, it fucks with your head. Like
Oh,
so hard. How do you do that?
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, just to be like fully transparent, I cry a lot. Like, you know
Okay,
what I
we
mean?
love transparency. We
yeah.
love it.
Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, every day I'm like the perfect boss to myself. Like, I never, no, I call my mom crying quite often. Like, literally last week I text my mom, I'm like, this week's going to be great. I call her like an hour later, just like sobbing. I was like, Mom, she's like, why are you crying? I was like, I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. Like, there are just those moments where it's like, what the fuck am I actually doing? Like, because there's so much.
Do you have a thing about job titles or like your title as a person?
Yes. Do you know how many times I changed my stupid TikTok bio? Because I'm like, is this showing who I really am?
Identity crisis of being on your own that's a straight ass book.
Yes.
I talked to Natalie Barbu about this too. That caused so much anxiety. The fact that I was like, please, nobody ask like what I do. Please, God, nobody ask what I do.
Like, never ask me actually ever, because I don't know. That's where now I'm like, digital Jill of all trades. And then people kind of like, what does that entail? I'm like, here's all the things.
Yeah, now like, I can go into it.
Like, but meeting new people, I'm like, we can just skip over me. Like, I just don't like, and it's this thing where I'm like, no, Natalie, you don't actually need this like one little succinct thing. Like, yes, that feels safe, but like, you don't need it.
No.
But definitely for me, like keeping organized and also just staying calm, because I'm also someone with like raging anxiety, which, you know, I have those moments where I'm like, is this freelance content creation, coaching all on my own life maybe the best for my mental health and anxiety? Probably not, like if I'm being fully honest, but like for now in this season of life, like I love it and I'm letting myself love it. And if there comes a time, like I just go on LinkedIn, I look at jobs all the time just to be like, you could literally get a job tomorrow if you wanted. Like if this really isn't good for your mental health, you know. And I think like talking to you, that's like, I love talking to people who do both, like content creation and some job that like typically is in social media or digital marketing, where I'm like, literally, there's such a crossover, like such a crossover. But for me, especially, like I love my planner, love my Google Calendar, and like time blocking and at the same time keeping it flexible. Like I typically do like a weekly to-do list that's like, this is all the content. Like I'll put it into like, here are the social media to-dos, here are the coaching to-dos, here's like the life admin, whatever. And then I kind of listen to my body and brain each day and be like, okay, if we're having a great productive day, let's freaking cross off 4 ads or, you know, whatever the heck. And then we can save like computer work for tomorrow for like not feeling it. We don't want to like get all dressed up and whatever. So a lot of it comes from that, of just like planning a lot while trying to keep it flexible, so I can kind of listen to where I'm at and keep it fun. And also like having, I feel like, a support system. Like sometimes it can just feel absolutely like no one gets it. Like my partner has a 9-to-5, like I'll try to vent to her and she's like, I don't really know. Like,
oh, literally, that was my husband. He was like, oh God, I really have no idea how to help you. And I was like, what do you mean? You're supposed to know everything.
Literally. Or she'll be like, didn't we talk about this like a couple days ago? I'm like, and we're talking about it again.
Oh
I'm like,
my God,
I'm like, we'll cry about it again. She's like, didn't we cry about this last week? I'm like, we're crying again. Like,
get on board. Get on the
but like, having those people you can feel safe to be like, I know I have a breakdown about like content creation every week, but like, can we have it again? Or like, my therapist is great. My therapist also, she's a therapist. She doesn't really know, but like, she's gotten really good at being like, all right, let's organize these thoughts. Because typically for me, when I have those breakdowns, it's just because I'm feeling like disorganized. Or like also creating those content creation friends. That's why I think internet friends are incredible. Like they get it. So just having people to like lean on as well. But I think really just like letting myself have fun with it and knowing that like I literally created this for myself. Like we could get a different job or create something different if one day it like doesn't feel good anymore.
A lot of people aspire to be content creators. I think it's very nuanced. I think it's kind of like the new trendy thing, which I low-key hate. Like it kind of annoys me a lot. And it only annoys me because I think when there are things that don't require, like there isn't like a school for influencing, there's not like a school for content creation, there's not a school for freelancing, even though that's been around for forever. And with that, there's some certifications, but like it's not the typical college path. So like I think a lot of people take advantage of that and like pose themselves as these experts, or they'll post online. And it's a double-edged sword, because on one hand I'm like, I absolutely want people to know what's possible, and that's what I love about the internet. And like as much as people can hate on like Instagram people showing travel bloggers and these people with like alternative lives, and like I know that's kind of annoying because you can get jealous, but at the same time, like if you're living in a small town and you didn't know that was possible, it shows you new lives that are possible. So for that, I'm like, that's freaking awesome. However, when I see accounts and I'm like, oh, I know you don't know what you're talking about. And I know that like you're selling your like, coaching calls for things. I'm like, I know. I'm like, this isn't it. And I just know it. And for you, that's got to be 10 times more annoying. Like, cause you're like, no, you're literally fighting the battle of can you not like dilute this experience? Anyways, but outside of that, yeah, like content creation, let's go for people who have no idea, like, what does that even mean? Can you define your role a little bit and then how you have monetized that? Because it is different for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like there's kind of these different routes. Also, I agree with everything you said. Absolutely. Especially when you see creators get like really, really big because they were just like showing their life and showing their lifestyle, which like obviously there's no harm in that. I mean, there can be harm, I guess. Like, what I eat in a day is that they're like 2 grapes for breakfast. You're like, oh my God.
Oh no.
Like past me is screaming because she loves it too much. But like, they get really big just like showing their life. And then they're like, oh, now I'm an expert on like this thing that people like about my life, whether it's like wellness or workouts and I'm like, you aren't certified. Like you are living your life. And that's incredible that you're inspiring people and like
pretending to be an educator.
Yeah.
Very
an
different.
Educator on that topic is so different. Like absolutely so different. So I so feel that. And I feel like there are those like multiple routes you can go with content creation. And I feel like when people say that term, it's like they're either, making content on Instagram or TikTok, and they like typically will be making money from, working with brands, or some people make like money off their stand store or whatever, and they have like digital things,
I debate if I'm supposed to have a stand store every other day. I'm like, am I being a bad creator? Like I must be the worst, because people ask me these things. I'm like, I don't know.
And like everyone on my feed now is like, if you are a content creator, like the money doesn't come from collabs. It comes from like your digital.
And I'm like, oh my God, do I need products? God, then I'm like, but I don't want to do it. Like, I don't know.
Literally. And I'm like, and that's what everybody's like, well, what would I make? And I'm like, see, you're not supposed to make something. If you don't know what to make, don't make it right now. Like,
literally, you can't be like, oh, I'm supposed to have something like to sell. What should I sell? Nope. It really should be the other way around. Like, wow, I have a great idea. Oh, other people would really love this. Let me,
like I could sell it.
Yep. Yes.
Yep. So that's where I'm at with that. But like, there are a lot of people that use their little stand store to make money. I'm like, go you. But for me, I feel like I really kind of went the like lifestyle route that kind of went a bit into like niche. How do I explain this? Okay. I'm not like one of like, there's so many girlies and I love it where they just actually show their aesthetic little life every day and they're popping off. And I'm like, I will watch every video. I love it. I want to see your little outfit, the little Ugg slippers. I want to see the coffee.
Emily Lee?
Oh yeah.
Oh, she was on the pod. We're now besties. To listen. Okay, girl.
I'm like, so by association,
but we're all basically we're all friends, and she's literally so fun. It's great because after I podcast with her, like we got each other's numbers, and she was like, "No Facebook, tell me whatever," and I was like, "Don't have to tell me twice," and I would just FaceTime her in the middle of the day. It's great, and I'm gonna go
love it.
In Florida. It's awesome. No, I love her, but it's bizarre because that's her. I was like, you're actually insane, and she knows it too. Her whole life is beige. It's fantastic. I love it. It's fascinating. It's black, beige, and white. And like, it actually looks like that. That's literally what our whole podcast was about, was her and how she's like, no, this is, I can say that because she said it. She's like, no, this comes from mental illness. I was like, no, for sure. Like something's different in your head, but I love it so much. Never change.
Yeah. But like, I love the way that difference like came out. Like it could have come out in way worse ways. And you have a beige life and we love it. Everyone loves it. We eat it up. Like I feel like I went through that phase of like, I just want to be that and like, just have people want to just watch my little aesthetic life until I realized that like, my life is not aesthetic every day. Like sometimes it will be. And I have like the cute trendy mug. And then there's the days where I'm like using the chip mug from college. And I just cannot put on matching pajamas. And I'm like, I don't want to feel this pressure to like film still or like change pajamas to look like, I'm sorry. I just like won't be doing that. So a lot of what I do too is like talk about my journey with coming out and talk about my queerness and kind of like mesh that together, and kind of going back to what we said of like not having one label of like what I do or what I talk about really stressed me out for so long. Like every other day. Oh,
hate labels.
And I hate that I like internally want them. I'm like, stop it.
No, same. It's literally, I'm like, I feel like I'm missing something, but also don't you dare put me in a box.
Don't give me a niche. And then my brain's like, so what's our niche? Like, I'm like, no.
There have never been truer words. There have never been truer words.
It's like the devil and the angel on my shoulder. And like literally every other day I would like voice message, which is like my, oh my God, my favorite thing ever. Voice message my bestie all day long. They'll text me and I'm like, I know you probably can't listen to this right now. But like,
and I don't care. I'm going to tell you my life story.
My thumbs don't work anymore. Sorry. And I would just voice message and be like, see, like, I just feel like it doesn't make sense because I like talk about being gay, but then I like show my morning routine. They're like, why does that not make sense? Like gay people also have a life. And I'm like, oh, wait, you're super right. I'm like crazy. And they're like, also Natalie, like people who want to follow you to like maybe learn about their journeys or hear about your queerness, like probably also like want to just see your little silly outfits or silly little life, like sort of thing. So finding my groove with like literally posting what I want within the realm of like, I just post about my life and post about my journey and encourage people to like, dude, just like be yourself, accept yourself. And like trying not to overthink it, I feel like has just really helped. What did you even ask?
No, you are kind of halfway there, and so I'll steer it back.
Perfect. Thank you.
But one thing I did want to like pinpoint that I really, really like about what you do, and I think people do miss, is like, sure, it's posting about your life, but I really think it's kind of like breaking the third wall for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And from the outside looking in, like what would I don't even want to say like what would people be interested in, because it's like you figuring out like and I've watched your content, you realize there was kind of discrepancy by how somebody looked at you and being queer, and so but like somebody else might be like, that's weird, or they might have some sort of insecurity about that, or feel like they can't talk about that because they don't look queer. But you said, no, this is my life, like this is a cornerstone of who I am, so I'll post about that. And I think it's literally those things that that kind of ends up being your brand. And I think like when people talk about niches, or they they're going into like personal brands, they're like, who am I? And I'm like, you would be surprised by what you're like. One, my audience has branded me, but it's fascinating because I'm like, no, but it's so like it's all it came from my content. They just kind of honed in on these certain topics. So I was like, who would have thought? For me, I'm like, I'm the laundry girl, I'm the Panera girl, I'm the ear piercing girl. Like these, just like these things, which now I have made my entire internal and external personality. I'm synonymous with the mango yuzu citrus charged lemonade. Like it is me, and it is all me. Okay. It's like, but it really is like, it's not that deep. It's really just like these cornerstones of you, and you find these cornerstones that people also relate to. So I wanted to call that out for you as well, because I think that's something that you've done really well, and it's very, very brave to talk about. And I just appreciated your take on your content in that way.
Thank you. And I feel like it's so good hearing from the outside in, because oh my God, looking at your own content, it's like trying to look at it as an outsider. I'm like, that's impossible, because you're literally the person. And I feel like that was such a big thing when I was at first trying to like just be lifestyle and like not bring my queerness into it too much. I was like, no, but like there's all these like girlies or guys like looking at my content just assuming I'm straight, and that like kind of annoys me. Like, no, being gay is not my whole personality. It's not my personality at all. But like, it's such a big piece of my journey. And like, if I'm just posting my like little morning routines and like kind of hiding this piece of me, I'm always going to feel this like weird disconnect with my content. So that was kind of where the decision finally, I was like, girl, just do it, because there is this piece of you that does want to talk about it and help people, and you're like hiding it to just be aesthetic and all the overthinking. But
so can you talk about the monetization of it now? That was kind of the second part of the question. Like, so that's kind of how you built your platform and your personal brand and how you got started. And then when did the money start coming in, and what were the avenues, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, absolutely. I started making some money from it in 2021, but it would be like a small deal here and there. And that was when it was kind of more, I was still trying to figure out where my content was going. And so more recently, over the last few months, I've been making, more income from it. And I feel like it's kind of like you were saying, those like mini niches that we become, like like the Panera girl or whatever, where then it's like, oh, maybe you'll get like a Panera brand, like these little things that companies are like, ooh, we like this like funny little niche you've created for yourself. So I feel like for me, along with like just lifestyle and queerness, like I don't drink. And so now I'll post about like my favorite non-alcoholic beverages. So then I land deals that way with like, alcohol-free spirit companies and things like that. And I think that
And
was
that's
a
like
big,
literally exactly what brands look for. Like I'm thinking of like when
yes,
I'm
like the
doing
silly,
influencer research and it is we're basically looking for personality traits.
yes. Yeah, literally, where you're like, okay, what is this like personality trait that people have latched onto, sort of thing? And I think that's where at first I was so hesitant to like talk about queerness, because I'm like, what companies are going to work with me? I'm like, that's not all of you, first of all, and that's not all you're posting about. And also, like, there are companies that literally want to work with you because of that, because like diversity and all that
Yeah.
funny stuff. There's literally companies that are like, and if like your partner could be in the video, and she doesn't even have TikTok, so she's like, she hates it, but like she'll do it. Like she'll do it because sometimes I'll get her like PR, and she's like, fine, I'll do it for the sweatshirt, like whatever.
So funny.
I know, it's so
What a
funny,
supportive queen.
oh yeah, she really is. But yeah, so I just kind of started just getting companies, kind of inbound emails and reaching out as I think I honed in more on my content and on those like small niches that were just like pieces of me. But I also like pitched to brands, like brands that I know, like I would love to work with. I have ideas on content, just like pitching via, if I know the emails, via email, but also over DM, and kind of, this is who I am, like, is there a marketing email? And I've definitely gotten like good deals out of that. So that is one way I make money, is just, working with companies on my page, integrating them into like my little videos and stuff. I've also worked with companies where they have me post like ad only on my page, which is kind of nice because again, they normally just put money behind it and I don't have to worry again about like the algorithm and a good time to post, and just kind of those like nervous pieces of being a content creator where you could be like so proud of a video and it could still do shit if it just, it all aligns that way. And then, like we've mentioned, I also do UGC just through my TikTok and new Instagram. And again, I kind of like fell into that. Like companies just started reaching out to me because like, you're good on camera. And
that's hard to find. And there is such a demand for it. It's funny. I have done none of that. Like I have not,
Wow.
I mean, my entire like 9 to 5 is essentially UGC. So there's that. But like, as far as like from me, the creator, I haven't done any UGC. It's all been like influencer campaigns.
Yeah, totally. And it's kind of, I never know. I'm like, which one do I like more? And I really don't know. I think they both like serve such a different like piece of like creativity for me. Because it is, with UGC, it's like nice too, because obviously when I work with brands on my page, I'm like, we have to be super aligned. It's something I've like already used, like something. And with UGC, I'm like,
you're just an ambassador. Like,
I'm just like a little actress. Like,
yes,
we're just like, sometimes they literally send a script and I'm like, I'm good at memorizing. I can like do the inflection, like make it sound, whatever. And it's just like, it's just fun. And like, I love to talk, obviously, and like be on camera. So it's just a fun other way to make money. Obviously, you don't make as much money from like a UGC video versus a campaign, an influencer campaign, but also it is a lot less work. They usually don't make you edit it. They're not paying for you as like a personality necessarily. And so, I make money that way as well. It's like, we'll make ads for companies, make them here in my little office, send them in, they post them on their page, and it's done. So
it's golden.
Yeah, that's kind of the different ways I make money from that.
Yeah, no, I love that. We have a network of creators for my 9 to 5 job, and like that's like a whole piece and that we're trying to leverage, because you would be surprised like how hard it is to find, like, because to us it's assets. Like these are creative assets that need to be used for ads, and like ads continuously need to be fed. Like if you're running a campaign, you want to be switching these assets over and over and over. So you need them to be created by somebody, whether that's like our internal team or some partners or like whatever. So it is super in high demand. That is fascinating. So kind of round us out. Do you have like maybe a overarching life lesson, or it can be a couple lessons if you would like, that you've learned over this journey in finding your own path and building your businesses, and also learning about you on the way and being online, because that's like a whole it's a whole journey in exposing yourself online. Like it's a whole thing that you would be willing to share.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I've learned so much through it all. And I think one of the biggest things is like, as you're, you know, going down whatever path you're going, like making sure you're like continuously getting to know yourself, because I feel like throughout my life and throughout like all the different things I've tried and jobs I've had and identities I've tried on, because as much as I am now good with like, I don't need to be, like every hobby I do doesn't have to become me, you know, sort of thing. Like, oh my God, that was like totally my thing in the past. I feel like I just really learned that like in the midst of everything and you're doing a bunch and you're trying to make money and you're a hustle queen, like you really have to slow down and like get to know yourself. And I feel like that is another just way I'm able to do all that I do, is like every morning we are spending at least 2 hours. We are journaling, we're meditating, we're reading, we're like having a minute with ourselves before we are going online, before we're like creating TikToks, before we're checking email and absorbing like everyone else's energy, especially having a job on the internet. It's just like such an energy taker. It's like always pouring energy into yourself and always continuing to get to know yourself, because you're like always changing. And I think sometimes we forget that, especially if we're working on social media, because we kind of do like create this version of ourselves and it's like, wait, whoa, it's like been 6 months, like have a check-in. So definitely have learned just to like always prioritize myself and like get to know myself every day and like give that time to myself every day, which I think really helps in the long run with, you know, what I do. So
Yeah, that is awesome. Thank you so
yes!
much.
Oh
This
my
was
gosh.
such a good episode. If
Thank
people
you.
want to hear more from you, where can they find you?
Yes, they can find me on my business Instagram, that is Plenty and Well with Nat, or on my business website, which is plentyandwell.com, or on my TikTok and lifestyle Instagram, which is at It's Natalie Cass. So yes.
That's awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
I know that you have enjoyed this episode. Natalie, thank you so much. And if you did enjoy this episode, please share it to your socials, all the things, and tag Attainable Podcast, tag It's Natalie Cass and her things. And yeah, then we can repost you and it could just be a fun time. I love you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful week and I will see you guys next time. Bye.